Wayne Gretzky to the Jets, Christine Simpson?
Well, Jeff, you know, when it comes to NHL trades, August 9th, 1988 may be the biggest date in NHL trade history. Of course, that was the date Wayne Gretzky went from Edmonton to the LA Kings. And while that might be the most famous trade in Gretzky's career, the most bizarre happened a decade earlier. It was 1978. And as you said, it was the day that Gretzky almost became a Winnipeg Jet.
We played a lot of backgammon, Bockington and I.
We used to bet a little bit.
They didn't like each other. They were always trying to outdo each other.
And he says, let's play backgammon for Wayne.
If Nelson loses, Edmonton gets Wayne.
I'm not sure how true that backgammon game is, but I know somewhere, somehow, there was something involved.
Peter, being a gambler, he took the challenge.
He put everything on one roll of the dice.
That might be a myth, that might be a legend. I'd like to hear what the real story is.
Is it possible the greatest hockey player of all time was traded because of a backgammon wager? The year was 1978, and the Indianapolis Racers of the World Hockey Association were struggling on and off the ice. The team's 17-year-old phenom, Wayne Gretzky, couldn't save the franchise from financial ruin, so owner Nelson Scalbania decided the solution was to sell him to another team.
I probably wasn't ready to be a guy that you build a team around at 17, and sort of that was the idea of the Indianapolis Racers and Nelson Scalbania.
I then called up Michael Gabati, who was the owner of the Winnipeg Jets, and I said, you can have Gretzky.
I get a phone call. He says, Michael, let's play backgammon for Wayne. I says, are you crazy? No, I can't do that.
On November 2nd, 1978, Gretzky, Eddie Mio, and Peter Driscoll were told they were no longer members of the Indianapolis Racers.
Pat Stapleton, the coach, calls us into his, he says, can I see you guys? He says, you guys have been sold. Be at the airport by 2 o'clock. Coach, where are we going? He says, don't know.
When I got on the airplane and when we took off, we didn't know if we were going to Winnipeg or Edmonton.
The pilot opens the door and he says, okay, who's paying for this? It's like $10,000, right? I'm going.
We all looked at each other, and I didn't even own a credit card. And Eddie said, well, I got a credit card, but it's got a $600 limit. And the pilot said, well, that'll do. So we didn't know what was going on.
Scalbania and his body were negotiating the sale of Gretzky to Winnipeg.
My GM at the time says, no, he's too skinny, he's too light, they'll kill him, and he can't play the whole schedule.
Rudy Pillow said that I couldn't play in the WHA, I couldn't play professional hockey, and he didn't want to do the deal.
I listened to him. Biggest mistake. Huge mistake.
I hope I'm not selling Rudy under the bus, but Rudy, bad choice.
Once Winnipeg rejected the move, the Edmonton Oilers were second on Scalbania's list.
I called Peter from the airport in Winnipeg.
Said, Peter, you've got a greatest opportunity in your lifetime. And I said, Nelson, what is that? He said, well, I'm coming to Edmonton. Do you want Gretzky? I said, done deal.
The Oilers' general manager at the time was the late Larry Gordon. Before his death in 2013, Gordon was quoted saying he witnessed a high-stakes game of backgammon between Scalbania and Edmonton Oilers owner Peter Pocklington, in which Gretzky was the winning prize.
Larry was a bit crazy, but no, there was nothing to do with backgammon.
We played a lot of backgammon, Bockington and I. He thought he was the world's greatest backgammon player. We certainly never played for Wayne.
I'm not sure how true that backgammon game is. I know somewhere, somehow, there was something involved.
The only glimmer of truth in that is that we said that we'll have a game of backgammon for a right to buy back into Edmonton, which I lost. Okay, that I will go along with, yes.
While this alleged backgammon game, which Gordon claimed he saw, was being played, Gretzky, Mio, and Driscoll were still on the private jet sitting on a tarmac in Minnesota.
When we landed in Minneapolis, I believe it was, that's when they called and said, okay, you're going to Edmonton.
What became of the Gretzky-led Edmonton Oilers has been well documented and well celebrated. The same can't be said for the team which had first dibs on that scrawny teenager in 1978.
I made the biggest mistake. He owes me big time. because I gave him the great one. And every time I see Peter, I say, Peter, those 5 rings, they're mine.
Well, he was the owner. If he wanted to do it, why didn't he?
It could have been a completely different story had we gone to Winnipeg.
They definitely would have won some Stanley Cups. So I felt kind of sorry for Winnipeg.
It's crazy, totally. But that's in the days of the WHA. It was crazy times.
Do you still play backgammon?
We play golf. We don't play backgammon.